With two great handicappers this morning, and we are going to talk Saturday morning, afternoon, depending where you're at, college football, and we got some winners planned for you here today. I am joined with Tony Gulledge and Del Warfield. Welcome and good morning, gentlemen.
Hey, good morning, Lou.
Good morning, Louie.
Del, welcome back. Glad you're feeling a little bit better, and hopefully you're ready to fire off some nice solid winners here for you today. Welcome back. Okay, let's get right down to it, gentlemen. We got a game on the schedule, and let's talked about a little bit earlier this week with Paul Bovey, one of our weekly handicappers, and he gave us a little play here with Liberty. Now, Liberty opens up at a pick'em. The game steams to -3. Total opens 56.5 and gets a little steam to the under, down to 53.5. So, Tony, get us started this morning. Get us kicking with a nice solid tidbits on Syracuse and Liberty.
Oh, you got the Liberty Flames, perfect 4-0, 3-0 against the spread. One of their games, the win against North Alabama, had no line on it. They're coming to face Syracuse on the road. Syracuse 1-3, 2-2 against the spread. My note on the positive for Syracuse, their win did come at home, 37-20 against Georgia Tech. However, last week at home, they couldn't benefit from a lot of Duke turnovers, and they lost the game. For me, this is a trap spot for Liberty. They're stepping up in competition. They're going on the road against the ACC team. The three-point line doesn't really scare me per se, but what I do like against Liberty here actually is what I said, the road spot against a Power 5 team. They played last year. Syracuse dominated them, I believe, 24-0, 29-0, something like that. Just a total domination last year from Syracuse in this spot. I just feel from a handicapping point of view, this is definitely a trap spot in my mind for Liberty. I'm going to take the home underdog and play Syracuse. This is among my action card, not my upper echelon of plays today, but definitely a game to put some action on early. Syracuse for me here.
All right, Tony, going against the move, going against Mr. Bovey, looking for a little bit of a home dog here with Syracuse. Del, what do you have to say about this? Do you agree? You disagree? Can you be a deciding factor?
Not really. So I don't really like this game either. I mean, to kind of touch on the points that Tony made, the records are going to be a little bit off-putting, right? You got Liberty versus, not really great competition versus a Power 5 team like Syracuse going against some really good teams. This is a really tough one to actually pick a side on. I initially leaned Liberty because they were a favorite going against such a Power 5 team as Syracuse. Syracuse is having a really good year. But I can't pull the trigger here. I initially leaned Liberty, but Tony makes some good points, so I don't want to touch any part of this. So back to you.
All right. I personally have a little love for Liberty here in this scenario. A little bit late on the move. We talked about it, I believe, on Wednesday. So I just Liberty's pretty much, since they've been into the FBS the last 5 years, they've really played these powerhouse teams fairly well, but usually they're in the big underdog role. But I don't think this team is worried about the powerhouse Syracuse team. So I'm going to buck you a little bit here, Tony. So I got a little bit of love for Liberty, and Tony says a little bit of love there for the Syracuse Orangemen. All right, let's get to the next game on the schedule in college football, and that will be the North Carolina Tar Heels, and they are at the Florida State Seminoles. Tar Heels -13.5 and 64. Now, if you've been following the show a little bit, I'm definitely looking to fade the Seminoles here. Now, this game opened up 8.5, so now fading the Seminoles, probably a little bit too late, all the way up to the 13.5 on the automatic fade scenario. Total went from 62.5 to 64. So let's see, Del, do you have anything? North Carolina Florida State.
That's on you, Dale.
Hey, look, so for this game, I don't. Sorry.
All right,
go ahead,
might be a
Dale.
little bit.
It's on you, Tony.
It's you, Dale.
Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and take this one.
Go ahead, Tony.
I didn't mention on the first game, Syracuse has forced 13 turnovers in the last 3 games. That's I kind of like that. I just wanted to throw that. I didn't put it in there, but another reason I like Syracuse is they force a lot of turnovers. Let's get right to this game. Mack Brown going to Tallahassee. Mack Brown, I would almost consider this team his arch nemesis in Florida State. I'm a Tar Heel graduate, so I remember pretty implicitly Mack Brown's first coaching stint with the Tar Heels. I really can't call them an arch nemesis because Mack Brown never could do anything with this Florida State team. I literally believe Florida State is the reason he left North Carolina initially to go to Texas. Mack Brown against Florida State is 0-9. He has never beaten this team. Even when the Tar Heels were among the national elite, they were a top 5 team. They had a chance at home against Florida State in 1997, and Florida State came in and dealt them a 20-3 loss, devastating. I don't think Mack Brown has ever really gotten over it. So, I'm looking at a 13.5-point spread. Notre Dame pretty much put the clamps on Florida State 42-26, but Florida State did show something finally. They did cover that number against Notre Dame. I thought their offense at least showed some signs, some semblance of being able to get the things together. The Tar Heels, for me, they move the ball at will. That defense, man, at least something to be desired. Even last week, we were on the Tar Heels, remember, -3 against Virginia Tech. But what really bothered me was the 45 points the defense surrendered. This is a spot where Carolina has to be careful. I know Mack Brown wants to exercise these demons, but this is a team that has been in his crawl forever. And I don't like this spot for North Carolina. I think it's dangerous. I think they'll be happy just getting a win. Give me the Florida State and the 13.5 points here. I think the underdog is the way to play this one.
Well, I have to agree. It's the plug your nose kind of game because this is kind of a tough spot for North Carolina on top of it. They've just finally cracked into the top 25. So how are they going to respond to that? Is that going to parlay into being able to get the nemesis off their back? So, yeah, but I really would have a tough time back in Florida State, as you know, all season long.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
No. Got to definitely plug your nose there. So, all right. So I'm not sure if we got Dell back or not. Seems like we had some technical issues. We will go on to the next game with Duke, and they are at NC State. I touched on this game a little bit on Wednesday, and that Duke the game opened up 4.5, total 62.5, still a 4, and the total is now down to 58.5. You know I'm a favorite for playing a Duke game over. And do you have anything on this one, Tony?
Yeah, I like this setup. I like the way this is going. NC State coming off back-to-back road win, upset, straight-up wins as an underdog. You get Duke coming in off their first win of the season. Duke has been atrocious at taking care of the football. They're literally just fumbling it, getting picked off. Last week, they finally got their win 34-20 against Syracuse, but they had three fumbles and an interception, 4 turnovers against none for Syracuse. Only the ineptitude of Syracuse, the way they played last week, got Duke the win. Duke has been in this spot before. NC State, like I said, I'm going to play the momentum of them just being the right team at the right time here. Line's not that much. Almost smells like it could be a trap, but I'm not going to bite on this. This is the first time NC State has been favored this year. That is against them, from a handicapping sense. Now they're expected to win. But I think they got the right spot against the right team. Duke doesn't really show me anything competitive-wise. They just make too many mistakes. And NC State shown the last 2 weeks they're competent offensively, scrappy defensively. And I think at home they just take this nice 10-point win here for NC State.
All right. Okay, yeah, I am a fan of playing Duke over, as you know, so I do believe it's another scenario here. NC State comes in playing four straight overs, and they come out this season playing the overs, so I got to believe it's going to continue here today against a Duke team as well. So do we have Dell in the back? Is back with us? Okay, so Dell is
Yeah,
now
unfortunately,
frozen.
I am gonna be opposite of that one.
Oh, go ahead.
So for the Duke NC State, I actually like the under for this game. I think I got it at 59. I know you like that over, but this the line moving down kind of pushed me down. State's got a lot of weapons. Duke's got that great quarterback from Clemson who has been having a bad year, but I think the turnover issues for Duke is kind of going to push that down to the under as well. Coming in from that line moving down to 59, I think that's more of a play for me. The way I look at games, I like this game going under 59.
Okay, Dell with the under the 59 going against me there, and like I said, the total is now actually down to 58.5. So if you're following there with Dell with that philosophy, you want to be on that one as soon as possible. I'm checking to see if the weather made a difference. Doesn't seem like there's a weather issue to drive this thing under. So definitely a steam play to the under. I will be bucking that steam play. All right, on to the next game on our schedule. Louisville, the Cardinals. They are at Notre Dame. Notre Dame, after a little bit of a breather, what are they going to do here? Do they open up a 14-point favorite, went up to a 17-point favorite, and the total on the game is at 62. So, Tony, Louisville, Notre Dame, what do you got?
Yeah, this is going to be the third of my action plays. Just a little something to get the appetite wet. Louisville against Notre Dame. Louisville 1-3, 1-2-1 against the spread. They started their season with the cover. We had them. I wasn't impressed. They were laying 12.5 to Western Kentucky. Got a 35-21 win. Since then, it's been problems and issues. A lot of it defensively. A lot of it they've been shooting themselves in the foot. So you got issues with Louisville. Notre Dame, perfect 3-0, but they're only 1-2 against the spread. Their cover came against non-conference foes, South Florida, in the one non-conference game that they will get to play. Both their ACC contests, they have failed to cover the number. They're laying a 17-point line here. Again, just hard for me to pick a spot for Notre Dame to competently cover these numbers over and over again. They're only 1-2, 0-2 against the ACC. Louisville has looked poor enough, but they're scoring points. Again, I see this as a scenario where Notre Dame can take an easy win, but come nowhere near this cover. Look for something in the 40-30 range, that type of score. So I'm going to take Louisville in the 17 points and just ride them home, expecting about the same thing I've been seeing from Notre Dame. Solid. Their defense has not been what they were hyped to be. That's for damn sure. Offensively, they don't look bad, but coming into the season, their defense was expected to be strong, and I just haven't seen it so far. Give me the 17 points.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Tony. Dell is still frozen, so we'll my thoughts on the game real quick is potentially in line with you, Tony. Tough to lay them points, especially when you're behind the move. It went up to 17, but now it's actually back down to 16.5. So, but I think the over may be a scenario here because mainly because Louisville gives up. How many points per game they giving up now?
They give up a lot of points, somewhere in the 40 points.
40 points, yeah. They're 30. They're averaging almost 40 points a game. They're giving up. I don't see Notre Dame having a problem putting the high score on the game, and Louisville will potentially has the ability to put them points on the board right along with them. So, all right. So a little bit over for me, a little bit of the dog with Louisville for Tony G. And our next game on the schedule will be Virginia -2. They are at Wake Forest. The total is 59. And Tony, fire away. Virginia, Wake Forest.
Yeah, you got Virginia, Wake Forest here. Both teams 1-2, both teams 2-1 against the spread. I noted that Virginia had a look like they might be a decent team, but shit the bed last week. Poor effort, 38-21 loss to NC State as a 7-point favorite. We were on that. We gave that pick out here last week, NC State. Wake Forest has just not done very well. 1-2, as I mentioned, the one win against Campbell, which putting a line on that was kind of sketchy. They were 34-point favorites in that game and won something like 66-10. I know they did cover the number. For me, this is a great bounce back spot for Virginia. The way they looked last week, it's a low spread here. It's almost seems too good to be true, but I like the way this angles in. Wake Forest, not that good a team, haven't performed well, and not covered either spread against the ACC teams they have played. And I think Virginia basically just bullies them here. Give me Virginia today.
All right. I feel like this is another one that has to be a plug-your-nose kind of game, as Virginia has not covered the last 5 times versus Wake Forest. So but I really don't have much to offer in this game. Usually I'm looking for Virginia to play, to bet that game over. Wake Forest doesn't give me the confidence to play that to the over. I think we may have Dell back. Dell, Virginia and Wake Forest, if you're back, give us a nod on that play. He looks frozen to me. Okay, all right. So Dell seems to be frozen again, so we'll have to get back to him in a second. All right, Tony, we're on to the next game, and that's game number 6, Kentucky. The total is 45. They are at Tennessee. Tennessee is -6. And Tennessee, let's see if we got any movement in this game. I think there was a little bit of movement here. Tennessee, are they going to be able to? Kentucky, big win last week. Tennessee, big loss. So is this one of those zigzags scenarios? What are you thinking?
Yeah, this is right in my handicapping toolbox. The SEC is actually one of the conference my reads have been pretty more consistent with in this conference. So these are the games today. We're getting into the chunk where I actually like these plays a little more. So keep that in mind here. Kentucky 1-2 straight up and against the spread. Noted that when their only road game this year, they played at Auburn, lost 29-13. Similar scenario. Tennessee 2-1 straight up and against the spread. Devastating loss last week on the road at Georgia. They held a 20-17-point lead before that curse of Kirby Smart kicked in. And Georgia's defense literally won that game in the second half. They had Garantino guaranteed to run for his life in that second half. The guy literally, every time he got hit from the defensive front, the ball was coming loose. Vicious Georgia defense in that game. Tennessee ran 28 rushing attempts for -1 yards. So Tennessee literally ran for less than 0 yards in a full game last week against Georgia. Expect their offense to come back this week. Here's the deal with Kentucky. I don't see them offensively being able to match what they're going to get from Tennessee today. Love this spot for the bounce back. Think Kentucky is going to be a little bit over their heads. I love the fact that they got a 24-2 domination of the crazy mad scientist Mike Leach last week. Leach got a taste of what SEC football is last week. They really punched him in the mouth hard. So come back to this week. The play here for me is Tennessee laying the points against Kentucky. Really like this one.
I'm aligned with you on the same thing. Looking for the rebound, big loss versus big win. And Wildcats are not very successful. They are 1-7 versus Tennessee, 1-5 at Tennessee. So I will tend to agree with you here. I look for the Tennessee rebound here today in this matchup. All right, next game on the schedule features the Auburn Tigers, and they are at the South Carolina Gamecocks. And now this game opens up at -3. Pretty solid 3 still, so not much movement there. The total 50 and steams to the over up to 53.5. So Auburn and South Carolina. Tony, you have any opinion here on this one?
Sure, I always got an opinion for you, Lou. Just mentioned last game, last time Kentucky won at Knoxville Ronald Reagan was president. So it's been a minute since they've gotten a win there. And speaking of that, when we come here to Auburn and South Carolina, the last time South Carolina beat Auburn was 1933. So a little older than even me. I'm not a spring chicken anymore, but it's been a long time. Auburn here, 2-1, straight up 1-2 against the spread. They got their ass kicked by Georgia 2 weeks ago. I expected a better effort from them last week, but they caught Arkansas playing well. Auburn didn't really play well, but they were able to get down there and win the game straight up at the end. So it kept some of that positive flow going, and they did get the bounce back win off to Georgia, but they weren't impressive. South Carolina, the Tennessee, Florida, didn't win, didn't cover against Tennessee, hung in the number against Florida, and I believe I had South Carolina against Florida in that game, very close to the number. They snuck right under it. And then they go play Vanderbilt, a team that's definitely off. They ground them up, got some turnovers, kind of a wet field. So South Carolina's coming off by far their best performance of the year against the weakest team, I believe, in the SEC and Vanderbilt. I like the setup here for Auburn. Muschamp, the coach for South Carolina, he is 2-14 against ranked opponents. I mean, good Lord, is this guy? I don't like him anyway. For a guy that's supposed to be an offensive genius, his teams always seem to sputter and stutter in the key games against better teams. And that 2-14 record against ranked opponents, definitely, I didn't realize it was that bad. I actually went and looked and found that, and yeah, that makes sense because they always shit the bed with Muschamp against better teams. Auburn minus a field goal, not that much to lay. Like the spot here for a better team to beat a team that they've handled, haven't lost to them in 80 years. So that's for me, Auburn in this game.
All right, Tony, on a roll here right now. Good information, Tony. And you're selling me today. So why don't listen, introduce yourself a little bit to anybody that's a new viewer here right now, or the old viewers, and how they can get a hold of you and get this information all week long from you, because you're a little bit of an encyclopedia about all these games. I know you got some pretty in-depth memory. We have a lot of that in common, where a lot of these games you remember for the last 30 years. And so you kind of seen this movie before. I like to use that as a little line. I've seen this movie before. It's probably going to happen again here today. So that being said, Tony, please let everybody know how they can get a hold of you and how they can make a little bit of money with you long term.
Yeah, for me, it's the watching of the games. I'm one of the old school style handicappers. I like to use a pen, a paper, a calculator. I like to write things down. I have one of those memories where if I physically write something down, I remember it. I'm able to recall games, recall situations, what happened. And that memory does kind of kick in. Like I say, might not have the in-depth stats that some of the, you pull up, and I appreciate that. I like hearing those. I go more by my feel and what I remember seeing than actual trends, but it does help. I'm the greatwhitecapper.com. You can see it right behind me on my screen here. Always can get a hold of me there. I have a contact form. Email me, get a hold of me. Tony Gulledge on Twitter, Tony Gulledge on Facebook, and I also have the Great White Capper group on Facebook. Always glad to talk to anybody about what they're looking for in sports gambling. Are you just looking to have some entertainment? Are you looking to become a long-term type player? I like to call it viability. I look to keep people viable. I'm not trying to get you rich quick, but what I am trying to do is teach you how to be a better gambler, so at the end of the day, you know what you're doing when you step to the window. You're not making the play out of fear, but you're making the play out of knowledge. Most people I've helped come to me when they just can't hit the plays they need to hit. They'll fall behind, they'll double down, they get in a hole, and they'll come to me needing one big winner to bail them out. I hate being put in that situation, but so over the years, I've built up clients that trust me, and I just hope maybe people watching this, if you're having issues and need some help, come give me a call, and I'll do the best I can to get you straightened out and get some winners. And I appreciate this opportunity, Lou. And I appreciate all the hard work you guys do on this show. And I look forward to keep coming for as long as you'll have me here.
Looking forward to keeping you here, Tony. You provide some great information, and hopefully the viewers will take advantage of that information and help themselves. There. So thank you very much. So now, before we get into our last game of the day and the most interesting play of the day, I got to give you my little spiel here right now. I have an NFL teaser tomorrow. My NFL teaser of the month. I'm putting a label on it because I'm pretty high about it. It's a 4-team teaser, and they are totals in the NFL. I really feel I got this thing nailed. Pay you about 2-1 on this. So make some money with this. All you got to do is text free winner to 90210 or give me a call at the number there below, 877-711-WINS or 711-9467. And the reason I got the phone number on there because if you have T-Mobile, you cannot use this service on the T-Mobile and the texting. So, but if you have anything but T-Mobile, you should be able to get that teaser right away, no questions asked. So help yourself and make a little bit of money, which leads me to telling you tomorrow, 7 a.m., the same time, same bad channel, same bad stations, YouTube, Louis Diamond, BettorCenter.com or BettorCenter.com on Facebook. We'll get you our information as soon as we can get it to you and get you some winners here. Keep you making some money. And we've been doing a pretty good job on that. So we're going to grab an editor here to really kind of recap a lot of the stuff that we've been doing, show some people what they've missed. They've missed some good, solid winners. And hopefully that will continue here for you. And not only that, you've definitely missed some great, solid information as you've seen Tony put out there today. You see the guys put out throughout the week. So out here working hard to get you going and make you a nice little sports gambler. All right, let's get into our last game of the day. It's the doozy. It's the big one. It's not going to be a snoozy, is it? Georgia, Alabama. And Alabama opens up a 7-point favorite, but now 4.5. So Georgia getting the steam. The total, 56.5. Quite a big number for a Georgia game. Tony, take it away.
All right, Lou. Marquee game of the day. Georgia, strong Georgia defense going in, trying to take down the mighty Tide in Tuscaloosa. This game, I have to think this spread has something to do with Nick Saban testing positive for COVID. I'm pretty much feel like it was a false positive. If he actually tests positive this morning, which I was looking, still no word. It's likely he may be on the sideline tonight coaching this team. You got Georgia 3-0, 2-1 against the spread. The game they didn't cover, their failure to cover happened on the road. First game, laying 28 points, won by 27 at Arkansas. Both games at home, they look dominant. Okay, so think of this as a situational team. Didn't cover on the road, dominated at home. Alabama 3-0, 1-2 against the spread. Their two failures to cover were both on the road. 38-19 as a 28-point favorite against Ole Miss. And remember in that game, Alabama crushed them. And it was the garbage fourth quarter where the scrubs were in, where Missouri snuck under the number. A&M, they crushed 52-24 at home. And then last week, that defense last week giving up 48 points. I don't think I've ever seen that from a Nick Saban Alabama team. So that's why I almost feel like they were looking ahead to this game. Georgia's defense, when I mentioned that the dominance in the 3 games they've played, they have allowed a total of 115 yards rushing, not average, total for 3 games, less than 40 yards a game on the ground they're giving up. Like I said, Georgia, failure to cover on the road. Alabama, cover at home. This game has been marked down. Here's where I think this game is going to come down to. Can Georgia's offense do their job against Alabama's defense? If you look at the Georgia games, their offense struggles in the red zone. They use their defense as a catalyst to set up field position. Now, for Alabama offensively, they've been a machine, dude. When they've got the starters in the offensive line, they can run, they can pass. Nobody has come close to slowing this team down. I think that's going to be the question here. My answer is that Alabama is going to be able to move the ball much easier than Georgia. Even look for them to go over the top. When you can't run the ball at all, like Georgia's giving up no running yards, you go over the top, try to open up the running game. So you go pass, then run. Expect that from Saban here. This game has been marked. last week, poor defensive effort from Alabama. Expect much better results from them. Game flow, it's hard to really peg a total here. I'm thinking something in the 27-20 range, maybe, so that's 47. I see 56. So I'm probably more leaning to the under here, but the play for me is going to be on Alabama. Forrest Gump will cheer, and Alabama gets the beer.
Love the assessment again, because I have a little bit of a tough time laying the points with Alabama, but I don't think I'm going to have that tough of a time playing the under, because I do believe Alabama will be successful, but only to a certain extent. And Georgia's offense, they'll be only successful to a certain extent. So I like your number. I think it's pretty close. The number did go up. The total, or the line, went back up to 5.5. Right now, 6, as the news is breaking about
the word that Saban might be coaching I think that put the number down, and the fact that he probably will be there tonight. So literally the lines maker about a 2.5 point difference just on the coach being on the field. I think they were prepared to have literally a Zoom set up on the sideline. Saban was, trust me, he was not going to just sit by and watch this game on TV. They were definitely already, from what I understood, they were developing some unusual setup to where he can directly communicate to the coach that's on the field to tell him what to do. So, but he actually might be able to coach. I think that's going to inspire the team. Expect a big effort from Alabama tonight. I just got a feeling that's what you're going to see here.
All right. Good call. Well, hopefully it'll be a good call. So why don't you give everybody else an interesting call here, Tony? What's your most interesting play of the day?
Well, I gave out my full card, but let's see what we can put together for one of our little parlays that we like to do. Let's do we got the 3-teamer, my top 3 picks that I like. Let's just put them on the money line, get rid of the points, go Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama, 3-team money line. I'm guessing that's going to get you about 3-1, so plus 300 on a 3-teamer. Yeah, Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama, money line, 3-team parlay. That's what you get from me as my most interesting play of the day.
All right. Thank you very much, Tony. I'm going to leave you with a little interesting play that we haven't talked about here today, but talked about it a couple days ago on the show, and that is Mississippi State and Texas A&M. I believe this is a nice opportunity for the home dog to bounce back very strong, and this get the Mississippi State plus the 5 today versus Texas A&M as my most interesting play of the day. And don't forget, my NFL teaser of the month goes tomorrow. You can get it right now. It's on automated text reply. Just text free winner to 90210. You'll get the play absolutely free, no questions asked. Nice solid winner, 2-1 shot, 4-team, 6-point teaser, all totals in the NFL. Text free winner to 90210 or call 877-711-WINS. All right, for Tony Gulledge, this is Louis Diamond, and you have been watching BettorCenter Live. Join us here tomorrow morning with the full slate of the NFL. Hopefully, Dell won't have the technical issues. He'll be joining us tomorrow with all the NFL information that you need to get yourself ahead of the game. Thank you very much for watching BettorCenter Live.